You paid $5.99 for McD's Crispy Promise. Did you just buy 5 seconds of crunch? Today we rank the best and worst chicken sandwiches of 2025 and expose the 3 prep rules the winners follow and the losers ignore. If you want consistent juiciness every time, you need to know who's pressure cooking, who's hand breading, and who's hiding soggy buns under fancy names. Stay to see why Chick-fil-A, Popeyes, and Raising Cane's keep winning, and which premium option falls apart under a heat lamp. Why does one sandwich stay juicy for 10 minutes while another dies in 5 seconds? The answer hides in the cooker, not the sauce or the bun. Let's start with the quiet edge, pressure frying. When chicken cooks in a sealed pot, moisture stays put, the heat hits evenly, and the crust sets fast. You get meat that stays tender and a shell that doesn't slump on the drive home. Now the other side. A lot of places promise crispy, then slide patties under a glowing heat lamp. That buys speed. It also turns steam into your enemy. The crust that looked sharp at the pass starts sweating, softening, and sticking to the bun. Bite 2 tastes like yesterday. Here's the simple example. A pressure-cooked fillet is a sealed thermos for juice. That seal protects the crust too. Put the same piece under a lamp, and it steams itself limp and goes stale before you hit a red light. You taste stale oil and wet flour. The crunch is theater, not substance. The science is not cute, it is mechanical. In a pressurized fryer, water in the meat turns to steam under control. Less moisture escapes, so the fibers don't seize up and dry out. The crust sets in place, so it stays rigid instead of soaking through. Open fry, then hold, and you trade that control for speed. You pay with texture and moisture loss. Think of it like toast. Fresh toast snaps when you bite. Microwave that slice under a damp paper towel, and it comes out hot, soft, and oddly wet. Same bread, different heat path, opposite result. Holding gear makes it worse. Warming trays and timed caddies keep food safe and fast, but they pump low heat into breading that acts like a sponge. After a few minutes, you get rubbery edges or a soggy coat. Both are a downgrade. The real kicker: chains that pressure cook to order or keep tight, hold windows, deliver juiciness you can count on, and crunch that sticks. If they let batches sit, you taste it. Now let's move on to what goes on the chicken before it hits the oil. The breading discipline that decides whether you get a crackly shell or a dusty coat that slips off mid-bite. If 2 places buy the same chicken, why does one crackle and the other chew like cardboard? The truth is, the clock decides. Hand breading works only when the steps stay tight. Dredge, rest, fry, serve. That 6-minute window is not marketing. It's the guardrail between a rugged crust and a soft coat that slides off in sheets. Let's start with what hand breading actually does. When you dredge raw chicken, its surface moisture grabs flour and seasoning. Those sticky bits form rough peaks and little valleys. Drop that into hot oil, and those ridges set into a hard shell while the meat cooks through. You get snap, then juice. Miss the timing, and that shell never locks. Pre-breaded frozen patties try to skip the line. They look uniform because they are. Once they thaw in a fryer and then sit in a warmer, the coating hydrates the wrong way. Crumbs turn even, soft, and greasy. One bite, and the sheet peels off like a sticker. You taste oil more than chicken. Here's why the rest matters. After dredging, a short pause lets flour hydrate into a paste-like glue. Then, when it hits hot oil, starches gelatinize and set into a crust that vents steam in tiny bursts instead of bubbling under the coat. That venting is key. If steam can't escape, it balloons the breading, makes gaps, and pulls oil in. Rest, then fry, and you get a tight, craggy shell that sheds grease and holds its crunch. Think of it like painting. Primer first, then the coat. Skip the primer or rush it, and the finish peels. Give it a minute to bond, and it sticks through heat, humidity, and handling. Now the shortcuts that kill texture. Some kitchens batch bread far ahead, so the flour soaks to mush before it ever sees oil. Others re-dip cold pieces to fake fresh, which traps extra moisture. Both moves end with gummy breading and oil-logged bites that sag by the second bite. You want a field rule you can use? Order spots that bread and drop to order, not reheat. That tight window beats pre-breaded and held, every time, for a crunch that makes it to the last bite. But chicken is only half the story. The bun, pickles, and sauce can either protect that crust or drown it on contact. How do a bun and 2 pickles decide whether your $6 sandwich eats like 3? The build makes or breaks it. Let's start with a simple test you can run in 2 seconds. Is the bun buttered and toasted? Do the pickles feel firm? And is the sauce thin enough to spread but not soak? If those boxes tick, the chicken has a fighting chance. A lot of chains stack weak links. They toast lightly or not at all, lay on a watery, premium sauce, then crown it with limp pickles. That combo turns steam loose inside the bun and smothers the crust you just paid for. By the time you unwrap it, the bottom is mush and the chicken tastes muted. A butter-toasted brioche does a different job. The toast drives off surface water, and the butter seals the crumbs so steam meets a barrier, not a sponge. Firm pickles bring acid and crunch that reset your palate between bites. A smart spread adds heat or tang, but stops short of masking the seasoning. When those parts click, the chicken reads loud and clear. Here's the mechanics. Toasting builds a dry layer that slows soak through. It is a small shield that keeps bun fibers from drinking juice and sauce. Thicker pickle cuts keep their snap longer because less brine floods out on contact with heat. Thin, floppy slices leak fast and go dull. That is why a quick squeeze tells you a lot. It's like roofing. Good shingles keep the rain out and protect the wood. Cheap ones look fine on day 1, then leak at the first storm. Your bun is the roof. If it fails, everything underneath turns soft and tired. Price doesn't fix this. A fancy-sounding bun can still sponge up and collapse if it sits under a heat lamp or gets sauced too early. Meanwhile, a simple potato roll with a hard toast can outlast a gourmet brioche on a busy line. You pay for process, not adjectives. Use a field test. Press the top bun. If it springs back and feels toasted, you're already ahead. Open the lid. If pickles snap and the sauce sits in a thin layer, not a puddle, you're likely holding a top-tier build. So who's actually doing all 3 well? And who's selling staged photos and soggy reality? Let's rank. Which premium name fails the 3 rules, and which budget pick quietly nails them? Let's start with the top tier that actually earns it. Chick-fil-A, Popeyes, and Raising Cane's win because they run a process, not a stunt. Pressure cook or fry hot and fast, hand bread within a short window, then stack a build that keeps steam in check. That's why their chicken reads juicy, the crust holds, and the bun doesn't cave after a 3-block ride. Mid and lower tiers love shortcuts. Frozen or reheated proteins, long holds under glow lamps, and buns drowning in sauce. The photos sparkle, the bite does not. You get stringy meat, oily crumbs, and a bottom bun that smears into paste. That gap between ad and reality is not bad luck. It's prep. Example time. A pressure-cooked breast with tight, hold windows hits tender, fibers relaxed, and a shell that stays rigid. Now compare that to a patty parked under a lamp. Steam pools, the coat softens, and the meat dries from the edges inward. First bite might crunch. Second bite is tired. By the last bite, you're chasing flavor with sauce. Here's the value lens. A $4 to $5 sandwich from a chicken specialist often beats a $6 premium add-on from a generalist. Specialists design the whole line around chicken. The fryer curve, the breading station, the toast pattern, the hold time. Generalists bolt a sandwich onto a burger line and hope the lamp covers the gaps. You pay for the steps you can't see. Use this at the counter. Ask one question: when was that chicken cooked? If you hear, "we batch and hold," you already know the bite. Drier, flatter, softer crust. If they say dropping now or short hold, you're in safer hands. Dial a few more levers. Go spicy when seasoning runs thin. The heat props up bland breading. Skip peak minutes at shaky stores. Rushed lines miss toast and over sauce. Favor spots that cook to order or keep strict hold windows. Quick field test before you pay. Squeeze the bun. If it springs back and feels toasted, you're close. If it squashes and smears, walk. You now know the 3 rules that sort winners from staged gloss, the technique that locks juiciness, and the tells of reheated from frozen. If this gave you something to chew on, hit like, subscribe, and share it with someone tired of paying for soggy promises. Consistency isn't luck, it's process. The best bites come from pressure cook or tight-to-order fry, clean hand breading within a short window, and a build that manages moisture instead of soaking it. That's how fast food hits restaurant-level texture and flavor. Like and subscribe to help us keep the spotlight on the food industry's best-kept secrets. Your clicks fund the next audit. Now you tell us where to dig. Nuggets under a microscope? Spicy versus classic head-to-head? Or which chains freeze fries and sell fresh with a straight face? Drop it in the comments. Your picks set the target, and we'll bring the receipts.